Hey y'all, it's just Maddie and welcome to Bookbinding 101. This series is created in the hopes of helping you, the person who is trying to bookbind a fanfiction, a fictional work you found online, but also give you a place to return to easily where all of the steps, the whole process is done and laid out for you, and you can follow along if you want to. Today's video is all about typesetting, which is one of the first things that you need to do before you can even bind your book. Typesetting is the way text or words are arranged on a page, the symbols, the letters, and all of that. It's a big part of graphic designing for things like marketing. You need to have a good understanding of fonts, font sizings, font pairings, and all that good stuff, line spacing, letter spacing. That all falls under this category. Now, before you even begin, let's talk about what you need. First of all, you need consent. If you are doing a fan fiction or a fiction story written by, let's say, someone on Wattpad or AO3 or something like that, you want their consent. Not everybody wants their book to be bound or have a physical body, even if it's for your personal library. Like the example of one of the authors I got in contract with, they're like, I just really don't think that this format is best for my book at this moment. And I was like, okay, cool. Not everybody wants their work to be shared either. What do I mean by that? Because obviously it's online and public. They mean that they don't want the typesetting to be shared with other people. There are tons of typesettings that are free. I definitely believe in sharing resources, especially if it's done for free. You should not be making money off of somebody else's fan fiction work. So if you have to pay for a typeset, don't do it. Don't do it. Just do it yourself or find a free version. Some authors have their bookbinding permissions laid out on their profile, so check that out first. Maybe on their Instagram page even if they have one, so definitely check there. Next, you want to make sure that whatever you're bookbinding is in PDF format. If you're downloading it from AO3, it's super easy. AO3 has a feature where you can just download it straight to a PDF. Wattpad is not the same. Wattpad, you would have to use a third party to download it, like to a ebook, and then just do an online converter from ebook to PDF. Some authors might have their drafts written in Google Docs or Microsoft Office. I have mine written in Google Docs, so you could probably get a link or a copy of that from them if it's possible. Something I do out of practice is having a folder for each author. So that's where I would put their PDF, a screenshot of the permission, just in case anybody tries to say anything. And I have it there just in case. I also keep like graphics from the book if possible to get them. I won't really know if I want to use them until I'm actually typesetting. But just in case I do, I have them there and ready to use. Then you want to gather all of your virtual materials. So you're gonna create a folder called Typesetting Asset Files, or whatever you want to call it. That's what I call it. That's what the person whose video I watched for this called it. But that's gonna be like your big file next to the author files. You're gonna want to download a bunch of things like dividers, embellishments, illustrations or pictures. That's always optional. QR codes to the stories, maybe. Also optional. Borders, cover art, a playlist if applicable. Again, a majority of these things are optional. The ones I would only say are the ones that you really need are dividers and embellishments. Make sure you download all of these with a transparent background, because imagine you're trying to do something and you can't because there's a white or black or the transparent background. You know what I'm talking about, the grid? Yeah, just make sure they are actually transparent. I like to organize these materials by folders, so each one that I have has a folder, and within them, like general stuff, like some pretty dividers that can be used for any and every book if I wanted to. I also have specific folders for each work that I bookbind, because maybe I don't want to use a general embellishment or a general divider. Maybe I have one specifically in mind for that, but I don't plan on using it for anything else. You're also going to want like a fonts folder. I have a bunch of fonts downloaded, ready to use. They have all actually been uploaded into my Microsoft Office font, whatever. They're all installed, but I do keep them just in case something happens. I generally tend to use 2 to 3 different fonts, one for the heading, and the title. Sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're different. And then for the body. For the body, I tend to default to Garamond. I just like how it looks. I know a lot of other people also like how it looks. I usually Google what fonts go well together. It helps a lot. There are a bunch that they just tell you like, hey, this for the title, this for the heading, and this for the body. Perfect. Let me put a quick little asterisk here. If you are following this like right now as you are watching it, this is the moment to pause to make sure that you have everything in order. If you're just following along, or you're taking notes, or you're rewatching to make sure you're going through with things, I guess, my way. Otherwise, we are going to go ahead and get started. Now, I like to start by opening up all the software that I will be using during the typesetting process, which it's going to seem like a lot, so note this down. I open up the files that I'm going to need. I also open up Microsoft Word, the Adobe PDF viewer. I also open up a blank Google Doc, and occasionally, sometimes I will open up ChatGPT. I don't think I'll need it for this one, but if I do, you'll see it pop up somewhere on the screen. I also open up, of course, the publisher that I plan on using. I like to go ahead and open up the PDF that I'll be using. So I open one up in the PDF viewer, but I also open one up in Microsoft just because sometimes it's a little easier to you'll see why I have both open in a bit. You'll see why. So while those are loading, be gone Microsoft. Be gone files. We are going to open up Publisher, and we are going to select our page size. Now, if you are traveling, make sure you have all of your assets and PDFs downloaded beforehand, so that way you can open it up without access to the internet. Now, to select the paper size, you want to base this on the paper you plan on using. Okay, it plays actually a really important role. I plan on using A4 paper, which is this one right here, A4. Because I'm using a named paper, handy dandy, I know that half of it is going to be A5. Now, why do I need half? Because think about it, when you open a book, one whole sheet equals the entire length of your book. So you want one that's gonna limit you to half the page instead of accidentally the whole page. If you're using something like US standard letter or US legal or any other dimension of paper, you are going to create new page size like this, and you are going to put in the width. The width is going to stay the same. The height is the one that's going to change. So you're going to take this height and you are going to divide it by half. So if you are using standard US letter size, you're going to change that from 11 inches to 5.5 inches. Let's create. Now that we have it open, we are going to add about 12-ish pages, just to give us a little more work room. So let's insert, and we're going to switch this layout to the 2-page spread because it makes it easier for us to be a little smaller. There we go. Great. Now that we have about 12 pages, we are going to set our master pages. We want to make this master page a 2-page master for all of the masters that we're going to need. The number of masters you need really depends on your preference, but we'll get more into that later. Right now, we're focusing on this first one, which is our main body page. We are going to name that main body page. Okay, just to help us keep track, let's set our margins. Page design margins. We are going to create custom margins. Now, as you can see, my computer is an American. All right, I am going to do my best to include measurements so that in both measurement languages, so that way no matter where you are, where you're watching from, what system you use, you'll be able to follow along. So for the inside margin, we are going to change that to about 10 millimeters, which is 0.393 inches. For the outside, top, and bottom, it's going to be the same measurement of 15 millimeters or 0.59 inches. 0.59. Click OK. This is now what our page looks like. Beautiful. Let's set our safeties. We are going to give a gutter allowance of like 1 millimeter, which is it's 0.3 inches. That's a struggle. Of course, you can do however you like. In case you're like me and don't really speak all that great in measuring whatsoever, it's going to be really close to this gray line in the middle. And I'm going to use a ruler for it because I can't see. Despite wearing glasses, I cannot see. You're going to want one on each side. I might do a little bit more than that. Maybe like 1.5, 2. Again, it's really on your personal preference. Remember that line in the middle, that gray line, is where the fold is going to be. So we just want to make sure that we don't have any text going into that fold. It's probably a bad idea to put my metal ruler against my computer screen, but I don't really care. That might be more like 3, but it's cool. It's all good. As long as it's even on both sides, it should be fine. We are going to do the rest of our safeties around the edges. I tend to eyeball it or use some strange thing for measuring. Recently, I've been using my pencil eraser. So I hold the yellow part against the edge of the paper and just go from there. It's odd, I know, but I don't. It's how I measure things. Leave me alone. I'd actually do it the other way. Put the pencil, the yellow part against the blue line. And measure the other way. You can do whatever you like for this part. I just like to make sure that for it to be cohesive, I just make sure that I square up all of my corners. Now, this is the part where you will set your decorations. So you can use your embellishments or borders because these are the main body pages. So we're gonna do those first. For this one, I just open up my folders. And I like to try out a couple of different things. This is also where you are going to want to add page numbers. I like doing the bottom corners. So on the right page, bottom right. On the left page, we are going to change this to be the opposite side. We're going to justify it. And we're also going to set our first font, which is going to be, come on. Now we're going to set our chapter pages. The amount of master pages you have depends on your preference. So we are going to start off with our right chapter page. So we're going to make a duplicate of A. And let's rename this to chapter page right. Okay. Now, don't hate me for it. We're getting rid of the embellishment at the top, rid of the page number at the bottom. You can keep it if you like, but I like without it. And now we are going to add our chapter embellishments. The embellishments getting changed. I think I have changed my preference to wanting corner border. In which case, I would switch my page numbers to be in the middle. I think I like that one more. Okay. This is what we're going for our borders and embellishments. I've taken to liking the borders a little bit more than the embellishments right now. Perfect. I've got it. Okay. We'll keep it like this for the time being. If I don't like it, I will come back and change it. Now, if you're like me and like having the chapter on the right facing up to you whenever you open a book, this is all you're gonna need. However, if you don't like having gaps between the end of one chapter and the start of the other chapter, you're gonna go back to Master A, make another copy, and do the exact same thing we did for Master B, but on the opposite side. And then you'll have both. Now, one final view of how it looks without the guides. Okay, we'll see how this turns out after. And I'm going to go ahead and close our master pages. It's automatically going to apply our main body page, aka Master A, to all of these pages. Now, don't hate me, because we are going to select pages 1 through 9-ish. And we're just going to clear the masters. Like I said, don't hate me. Okay, but these are going to be the opening part of our book. These are going to be the front pages, the front piece, however you want to call it. There are tons of different things you can do. If you want to base it on a regular book that you buy at the bookstore, you can use that for your reference. Here are a couple of pages you can have in the front. You can have a cover page, other works by the author, or like also by the author. You can have your title page, your half title page, copyright, the dedication, a summary page. Those are a couple of different options of what you can do. For this one, I'm going to have cover art, a title page, summary page if I could find the summary. If not, if the story itself has an intro, a short intro, I'll put it there, or like an extended summary inside the book, I'll put it there. I'll have to look. And then, of course, the table of contents is a must. So let's start by adding the cover art. Normally if I was going to do other works by that author, I would have an other works page, but I don't have such plans. So I am going to go ahead and do a full title page, which will have the title in big letters and the author's name. The one I'll be using for my title, I'm going to use one for the headings and titles. Called Orpheus. I just think it's super cool. Let's make this bigger. And let's center it. Okay, now let's add the author, which of course will be in Garamond, because that is the main font I will be using. So, since I don't have a summary page to go on the inside, the next immediate thing that I'm going to do is the table of contents. One of the cons of using Microsoft Publisher is that you can't just automatically create a table of contents. You have to do it manually. I tend to wait till the end, but I go ahead and put my title page. So let me going to add key. Yeah, let's start with this. Table of contents. That's actually fine. I think I'll leave it And we're going to create a new text box, one right underneath the table of contents, and another one on the other page. And we're just going to make it the whole up to the margins. You're going to right click on this create text box link and click on the next text box that automatically links them together. Once you fill this left side with words, it'll automatically go on to the next page. You don't have to start typing, you don't have to do anything, which is wonderful. We're gonna set our regular font, which is of course Government. We can go on to our next page. See how this has absolutely nothing there? We are going to change that. We're going to start off with our very first chapter page. Now, again, it really depends on how long the book you are binding is. If you have over 100 chapters, you might want to consider in doing another page or two for the table of contents. Since I like my chapters on the right side, we're going to change this master page, chapter page right, and we're going to start adding text boxes. Let me come down to page 8 and 9 and go ahead and set that as main body pages. This is also where I like to bring in dividers. I make duplicates of the pages, so I put a divider on each page and just go deleting them as needed. Okay. Next, we are going to add the text squares. So let's start with this one. I have only made text box links up until page 155-ish. I have 215 in total. I've only done up until 155 because I can always create more later, but I don't want to make too many. You might be wondering, why have I not made any more chapter pages? Well, that is because you can easily change the master page. So I could easily make this just like that, or I could switch it back. Here comes the not so fun part. We are going to start transferring everything. Another reason why I have Microsoft Word open is just because it is easier to copy and paste from Microsoft Word than it is from Adobe Publisher. I don't know what it is with Adobe Publisher, but the scroll is so awful. Control C it. And I'm gonna come to this first text box and let's see if it'll let me if it's finished copying everything. There we go. Oh, and see how it only takes me to page 120? That's fine, because so far I haven't added anything else. It's literally just straight up text. I haven't added any of my dividers. I haven't indicated individual pages. Now, another thing that I have this open for is because I can copy this and let's open up this untitled Google Doc where I can just paste it. And we'll just get rid of the numbers manually. Okay. We have all of the text pasted. We have the titles on a separate page. I'm gonna go ahead and close out of this. Let's come back to chapter 1. We have beginnings. We're gonna get rid of that. And we are going to draw books here. Now this is going to help me see how my titles are going to look. Now, time to find where my next chapter starts. And here is the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Now, I still use the dividers just on the end to give it a little more of a uniform look. And here's what I mean by using all my just delete the box and it automatically moves it to the next one. All I have to do is right click when looking at the pages view, master pages, change it to this one, and adjust accordingly. Come back up to the first chapter. I'm lazy, so we are going to copy this, paste it here, and you're basically going to do that until you finish the rest of the chapters, getting it all to your liking. And on this last page, I added the mirror once again, and in the middle put a nice big ol' "the end." That took me roughly about an hour, so that's not too bad. You can do this 2 ways. I used to take notes of the chapter pages as I was scrolling up. I don't do that anymore, but you totally can if it makes you, if that's just how you like to do it. We are going to go up to the table of contents. Then we are going to go to that untitled doc where you have all of your chapter titles. Copy it and get rid of the doc now. Paste all of our chapter titles. Edit if you need to. I've changed this to be about 14. You're gonna highlight everything, right click, and we're gonna do tabs. Okay, default tab stops. I have mine at 5 inches, which is like 12.7 centimeters. You want the alignment to the right, leader dot, tab stop position 4.5 inches, which is like 11.73 centimeters. Double checking, set it, click OK. I'm here, click the tab button, and then just start typing away at the numbers. And this is my table of contents. Now you can make it bold, you can make it italicized, you can make it underlined, however you wish. I think the only adjustment I'm gonna make is change the line spacing. And now we are just going to export as a PDF. PNH headset done. So now this one is finished, published. This is the end of part 1. Stay tuned for part 2, printing and prepping. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, leave a comment, play in the background for ambiance. Bye.